You're live.
All right, hello world. PodLayer Proof of Concept Demo Team is back at it again, which is tracking the mojo phenomenon, the human qualia phenomenon, and sharing the methodology we use to do so, as well as the data we've gathered so far, the evidence. All right, right now we're focusing on the collaging aspect as a part of our overall goal to be building a sample surfer program that's going to allow people to sort of quickly visually access the database that we have so far in PodLayer. So in collaging, one of the main things we do is take still frames of a sample that has been read, and then you note their mojo and also cues that you're seeing. This is building the initial language we use to describe the phenomenon we're seeing. And these filmings, they're organic, we're learning as we go. We're always finding new ways to express it, but it's always language trying to actually express a description of an actual phenomenon. So always going to be a bit of dissonance there. We try to lessen it as much as we can and to get as accurate and nuanced as we can. And we've done pretty good here in the last years in getting a language. So here is where we use it. Right now we're working on a particular collage which has a little extra charge to it in that it is a purification collage. Over the last year, I've been purifying, and this is a collection of all the ones so far. So this really helps update the team on the most current understanding of what the Rosetta Stone of human soul for human species is. All right, so we'll go ahead and continue with that after introductions. I am Nai G Coach.
I am Shiny Shailene.
I am Benji Mitchell.
I'm Nai.
And this is Nai G Glenn.
Awesome. All right, take it away, Jolene.
Okay, so I will take us to the current purifications. It's where we left off. So this is our starting point this time, and Coach, whenever
cool.
you're ready.
So same protocol as before. We'll basically treat this as a new start, a reboot. Any correction that has not been seen, that variety, we'll give a little bit on that. If it has been seen already, we'll kind of just move on through unless someone has something a little special extra they want to add. All right, this is Nijai Stefan Harris, jazz vibraphonist. I had him down as a Nai-G, and you can see in both his pictures, he has a bit of a pensive air. Most of his pictures tends to have him in this rather pensive look. But I believe this is actually a gatherer that just has a more serious riff. You mean, go real quick there. You see squinting, there is a piercing quality, but I feel the power of like a sort of uplifting halo around the eyes feels stronger to me. Mm-hmm. And the mouth, although held, like it knows it's holding itself, it still feels unaware to me. It feels unaware that it's being held for a serious look.
Shiny Josh Groban, was he read as an IG before?
He was.
Okay, so it's a case of mistaken sub-ROM. So he, this is Shiny Josh Groban. All right, so things you will see that are different between so both Naiji and Shiny are subjective and interpretive and values-based. So so differences then will be in terms of being in the eyes. So here a lot, there's the receptive quality of the knee as opposed to the cunning, piercing gaze of Nai. So that'll look different. He has a lot more, just a receptive look. And also a more uplifting note to his face than you'd see with the Nai. It's
a tower, so it's calmer than a gather, but still both adapters do have their eyes have more of a lift to them.
Yeah, and then there's a poignant look overall, the quality of the face. It's calming looking. And there's also the Jai, see more energy in the lower lip.
And I'll just add to that like the picture on the left, he's doing more squinting there. It doesn't look quite as altered state as a gatherer would, but still it does, I think, look more altered state because his eyes do naturally, although he's a subjective mojo, his eyes are more naturally in a knee state So a squinting Vi state is going to be altered. Mitchell?
All right.
And he was down, I believe, as I think an IG.
All right. So shiny Sam Huntington's. I guess it's sort of a similar thing. The last one. It's shiny red as was previous red as an IG. So he. I guess one of the differences is that the values-based expressioning this should go into the eyes. So his eyes, they don't have as piercing, cunning of a look as like an IG would. They have more like emotive tone to them, and then also they have the eyes aren't as emphasized as far as where the energy is, mainly on the face, mostly near the mouth area. And it gives this unifield look, like the eyes and the mouth are actually, I don't know, more
Get it kind of like,
away.
yeah.
They they look like they're making like the same expression, whereas like sometimes for like the perception lead mojos, it doesn't really look that way. They look more apart.
Okay,
So this is 5G Donlin. What was he read as?
I actually have him down as a G9. He just
Oh, interesting.
a little broader face, and he has a very up kind of energy.
Okay,
Yes.
so 5G Donlin. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see how he could be read as a G9 because his face is very big, and G9 naturally have like pilot faces. But here, I can definitely see the pinched quality in the eyes, indicating he has Vi concern as opposed to Nai cunning. And I also see the bifield energy in the eyes. They look like they're distinctly separate from the energy of getting in the mouth, for example. Whereas if it was a G9, you would be able to see the emoting go into the eyes, so there wouldn't be that distinct separation.
Vijay Jack Lalane, and I believe he was previously read as a Nijai.
Yeah.
Right, so we've covered a lot of Vijay males and Nijai males before. Nijai males who were thought to be Nijai but were updated to being Vijay. So Jack Lalane is also one of those. Yeah, I think one of the main things that stick out is that he has much more of that laser-like quality to his gaze as compared to the buoyant sort of dancing look that comes in the eyes with the Ni Alpha and the Ni Mojos in general. Skin also seems more tight, more soft, supple in a way, although he does have quite a bit of, he has aged quite a bit, so like it is kind of maybe a little bit difficult to tell that. But I think the V also brings to it a little bit more of a tensioning, a little bit more yangness in the lines as compared to the Ni. I don't know. It's a pretty interesting case with Jack because I feel like he has quite a bit of good developed Nai, and that gives him much more of like a slinkier quality to him. But he is definitely not a interpretive Mojo. He is a literal and a Vijay at that, not a Nijai. So yeah,
Played a kind of guru role for decades, so I'm sure he.
right. Yeah,
Different.
interesting.
Shiny Ralph Macchio, that is right. The Karate Kid is a shiny. I had him down as an IG because the Karate Kid must be an IG. Must be. But
No, right. Of course, of course.
Pretty much once I was able to get past that demon of confusion, he's actually, I think, fairly, I don't say easy, but straightforward. The eyes are more a light, and the mouth it has an expectant look, both on the left open mouth and on the right, the pursed mouth. But still, he's kind of expecting and holding his emotional ground. Very cool.
Mm-hmm. Naiji Bridget Mendler?
Nizai.
Okay.
Cheekbones.
Okay, yeah. So she has how
And she also
I
has a
don't
little bit
even
of
know
that
how
kind of like on the left there, you see a smile, but kind of like
chiseled. So
chiseled, and what's that they
Right.
said that the fox-like look that some of them get, like Keira Knightley, they do, where they have,
in the eyes.
yeah, the eyes are kind of a little more playful, and then they have more,
Finer features.
finer features,
Yeah.
and then also their mouth has a sort of like
Yeah, it's kind of
playful.
yeah, playful purse.
Mhm. And also similar to kind of like Keira Knightley, the lips are not as full as some other samples are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So but then you don't see, with her, you see like the emoting going above the midline and into the cheeks. And even, yeah, it's tricky. It's because, like you said, she's more playful. So it can be, I think, misunderstood or with being receptive,
Yeah.
right?
So also, I find like looking at these pictures here, I'm curious, are you guys feeling like, I can see now, having looked at her face a bit more, the piercing quality, the faraway quality, but it's not quite as overtly piercing as some Naiji. Do you know what I mean? Like now, when I look, I'm like, I said, she's like reading me, but it's her playfulness kind of mutes, for me anyway, a little bit that sort of hunter aspect. Same thing here, Mitchell.
Alright then. Jennifer Nettles. So she was Resni's eye. Interesting. Yeah, I mean her eyes. I mean, do I want to even do this one because it's sort of?
No, whatever you feel like, it's fine. This kind of sample's been covered.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, I mean, okay, you could get her eyes are like they've got this like kind of bright look, but it's like they're also piercing.
Yeah.
It's not like
Yeah, the one on the right, especially
like
there,
really, yeah, it's exactly what I'm thinking of.
and then the one on the left looks like she's
The
distant.
one on the left, you could really see the piercing more clearly.
Far off
Yeah.
look, yeah.
And her values-based expressioning, you can see on the right, it sinks more into the face. It's not totally sheer with the knee side.
So this is Nai John McCree. Was he read as? I'm guessing maybe a Naiji or something.
Correct.
Okay. So yeah, it's cool that we have a. I mean, I know Naiji do show up in music, but it's there's like
Right,
so many
but
Naiji that it's easy for people like him to get missed. And I can definitely see the like, and there's a lot of Naiji with a lot of Zai too, right? So like, as far as like determining like whether he's logic based or values based, especially when you're seeing Nai Alpha, can be rather challenging. I definitely think I am seeing the shy unaware mouth though.
Yeah.
Like that really stands out to me because like with Naiji, they might have a lot of Zai, but you're never gonna see shy unaware mouth, and then it becomes easier then to see the Z bracing in the cheeks as opposed to the Zai and flappability.
I like to use both the discernments, but I agree. Even if it's logic-based or values-based, I tend to kind of zone in on the emoter first, the emoting power.
Yeah, and then it's like you have that piece, and then like you can find the other piece of the discernment. You know what I mean? So,
Totally.
yeah.
But yeah, I felt like both those pictures, I try to grab it. You see kind of the more naturally open mouth quality and the emphasis on lower lip.
Yeah, totally. I definitely see both those.
All right, so this is for you, Glenn. She was down as a Nai Z.
A Nai Z. Oh, I thought she was read as a Nai G at one point, but then I guess she was updated to Nai Z and then Z Nai later.
Possibly. For me, I had in my head that I had her as a Nai Z for a while. I think she spent the most time there. But anyway, I did have her as a Nai Alpha, but I think Nai Z. I think the Z. I don't remember. If I ever had her as Nai G, it must have been a while ago.
I remember she used to be Nai G at one point.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we'll go off of the, I guess, Nai Alpha to Z Nai change. You have to excuse my dog. But yeah, Yeah, I feel like she has a very long kind of face, and that can sort of like confuse and make one think that she's probably a subjective mojo with the more elongation. But there's a lot of Z Nye, a lot of Z Vi, a lot of pilots in general that do sometimes have that more elongated look. The thing to watch out for is that her face has the unifield quality to it, where the entire face is completely without any sort of break in it, like the way it would be naturally for the perception lead mojos. Her eyes also, I feel like they stick out quite a bit more than they would for not in the sense that she's a perception lead, but in the sense that her eyes have a pressed to the glass look to them, which only an objective mojo would naturally have. And she obviously she does have the Nye as well too, and that might have been, sometimes unhooded versus perception lead can sometimes be confused for one another. I think maybe, so that could possibly play a role into it. Her moding is interesting too. I feel like she has quite a notable smile, but it's kind of like that. It doesn't go all the way up. It's localized. I can tell, but it's a big smile. She has a large wide smile. Yeah, what were you gonna say, Coach?
I said, yeah, it's a large smile, like a large, like a moon sliver, but it stays down in the chin area.
Right.
It goes wide. It goes wide in that chin area, or jaw area.
Yeah, she's an interesting case. Xena would not be the one mojo that kind of comes to mind right off the bat for me when reading her, but yeah, I can definitely see how that could be the case for her. Personally, I'll have to digest a little bit. Certain samples are more easier or harder to really get a good grasp over.
Yeah. What really helped me with her was because she was the first time I'd really seen that over the pop culture. But when I first read her and got her as one of the Nye Alpha, but when I went later on, I started seeing, for example, like these Xenai dating experts, where they counsel people, like basically Xenai counselors in psychology and also other kinds of special self-help niches. When I came back around, she actually reminds me of quite a few of them.
Ah, I see. Okay.
Yeah, but I first was looking at her case. I didn't really have that point of reference to compare it to.
Right. Interesting.
Vijay, Kai Pennington, he was down as a Vijay. He kind of covers already, but he's different just because home improvement. But you see he's got the bright eyes of the Gatherer and the unaware smile, but those eyes are more clear, although he has a good amount of Nye. So it also helps you can see it overall, that sort of more smooth, supple skin that has just a more of an earthy quality. It's a little more yang as compared to a Vijay.
Jaini Ellen Palomo.
That's Naji.
Okay, so it's similar to the
I believe it, yeah.
the two others me and Mitchell did above. So again, Jaini receptive, knee eyes, and the unaware mouth, poignant energy, calming energy.
What was he read as?
Naji.
All right, Nizy tone lock.
So same as the one I did in terms of bubble and mojo comparison.
Sorry, just gonna.
Reminds me a little bit of Ice-T, I think.
Yeah. Who's up?
Oh, it's my turn. So this is Shivy, Myra, Veronica. What was Shiraz before?
Vijay.
Okay, makes sense. So yeah, so she does. I can definitely see the AdSense energy here that comes off really strongly. And I'm curious, what coach made her challenging for you in particular?
I think probably two things. One is I think some of her pictures, her face may be a little more rounded.
Yeah, because I can see in these two they look rather long, but yeah, I mean if there's other pictures. But yeah, I mean the cheeks can be pretty challenging. Like in the picture on the right, I can definitely see how that can be mistaken for Vijay.
And the other thing is that she does her makeup. I think I mentioned this, I think before. around the eye area, so they kind of pop more. They kind of draw strong attention. Some Jive do that. I have to make sure I don't misread that for the eyes popping first.
Yeah, there's like that general like mazoot of that sort of causes like this bad sense to sort of blend together in areas such as modeling. They often do their makeup in similar ways, or like they model themselves in different ways, similar ways, or and also often go for a similar kind of style that gives them similar game and energy. So that can make them really challenging to, trying to compare the two. But yeah, I mean, I do see the Jai emoting go into the eyes and the elongated nature of the face.
All right, so Jinai Waka Flocka Flame. What was he read as before? Is it Naiji? Okay.
It is
So,
fun name.
yeah, he's got a fun name. I think, yeah, there's a lot of Naiji that have been, or supposed Jinai that were thought to be Naiji, like him, and I think some of them are like Nelly, I think, for example. I think he was read as a Naiji at one point, got updated to Jinai. So,
There wasn't a ton of the music updates. There wasn't a ton of, but there was a swath, and there was mainly in R&B and rap.
yeah, the kind of, because the Jinai, they add more of like a charisma to their, they add more of like a quality where it's more like they're serenading, I think, in a way, as compared to the Naiji. I don't know if that's what you said exactly, Coach, but yeah, I think maybe that might play a role in, you know, like how maybe he was updated. I'm not sure. I have never listened to him. I'm not familiar with him at all, but I can definitely see that he's got much more of the objective qualities that the pilots would normally have. The wider face, the more helmet-like look to the face as well. The eyes also have much more of that unhood quality to them, and the emoting goes all the way up to the brow line. Yeah, he kind of riffs. Yeah.
Left, he's making an expression. On the right, he's kind of holding his head. But both of them, the tone, there's more tone than Naiji has. Naiji did more of the eyes, but this tone, it definitely is a bigger, fuller maneuver.
Yeah. Overall, he does have much more of a fuller look to him too. Yeah. So, Jinai.
Yeah, the work goes, you're right, Nelly, and then there was LL Cool J. There was like a handful or so, but there
Right. Yeah.
were some big ones in there.
Mm-hmm. It made so much more sense when I found that out. I was like, oh yeah, Nelly, he does seem like he's a Jinai. And then LL Cool J, yeah, that does make sense. People always comment on his head being so big, and I'm just like, I thought like that was a little bit funny. I thought, oh, he's just a Naiji with a big head, I guess. But turns out that that's actually more in respect to him being a pilot, but not necessarily like a 1-to-1 ratio, because not always is going to be the case. But it does kind of.
There's some big-headed hunters out there.
Yeah, there are definitely powerhead versions, but it kind of.
There's some bi-alpha politics that have some very impressive melons.
Yeah.
Okay, this is my turn. Jibai Redark Williams had him down as a Jinai. He has, I'd say, more of a looser game, more knee-heavy than some other Jibai riffs we've seen. But I still think that I am seeing that more sort of harder Yanger quality in the eyes. And ironically, this doesn't pop off as strong in other kind of weighing two mojos, but I find that, at least right now, when I'm comparing, say, Jinai to Jibai, or Zinai to Zibai, which I'm doing in some sports right now, is the hard, like the Yang piercing or Yin piercing versus the Yang or Yin halo. And so like Jinai, they actually have a Yin piercing, the Nai piercing, dreamy piercing, and then the halo is that V. It's like it's a halo, so it's adaptive, but it's a Yang, a Yang adaptive. And then here with the Jibai, what I notice is they actually have a harder kind of piercing look, and that's sort of more, it feels heavier a bit, more like directly on you. But the halo, which he has quite a bit, he has a lot of knee. His halo is dreamier. He has a dreamy adaptive halo. So that, and then of course also that overall skin quality difference, I think is a big help in his case.
Kind of riffs a little bit of Brandon Carter from the fitness bubble.
I don't know the one off the top of my head, but I can see that. Just, he did remind me up some more kind of smooth kind of operator looking fitness guys. There's some more hulky sort of ones that are
Right.
more like bodybuilders, and then there's more ones that do like modeling. He looks like a bit of a more modeling kind of fitness type. This is you.
Levi Eric Wedge.
Down as case in point, he was down as Xeni. That's new.
Yeah, so he has more
he's a Halo trick in
yang
him,
quality.
too.
Yeah, so this would be like a piercing, more substantial gaze, and then dreamy. Would it be a
Yeah, Dreamy Halo.
Dreamy
He does.
Halo.
He doesn't have as big a halo as Redark did. Not quite as knee heavy,
Yeah.
but still, there's a halo. And he has like a little dreamy around him, but the center is more yang.
And also, the skin has a more yang quality, and
And the lip tension. We've also mentioned that with like the
yeah.
with the Dur Sens versus Dur Roms, but it also is here as well with the Dur Prax versus the Dur Serves. It's tighter, more yang. That lip tensioning. If you compare that to the lip tensioning of like Xeni, we've seen a lot of Xeni guys. It's not quite tense there. You mean that Vi tensioning? Shows all four of the Vi mojos.
Shiredos.
Mizai.
Interesting. Nijai, Melissa Benoist.
As far as how I misread her, in case you're wondering what is a feature on her that got me, no, she's Supergirl, and Supergirl's like, super spunky and everything. It's ridiculous, but I'd let that lead me that she was an Izai. Do you mean? Because a lot of time, like the spunky tough girl, kind of like your Agent Carter, they often cast an Izai, and I just let that casting trend, I think, sway me.
That's cool. I'm glad to know that she's a Nijai. It makes quite a bit of sense. She does have. I totally get what you're saying too, Coach. The Nijai thing. I was on that too. I was like, yeah, I think she's a Nijai. But no, that's unaware, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that role she got cast in, I don't know if it's her general personality, but the way she plays in that role is something I'm more associated with Nizai females, but.
Funky wash and wear.
Yeah, like even
Exactly.
even with this like big smile, like I can see the emphasis on the lower lip a lot.
Yeah. So exactly, there's emphasis on the lower lip, and just you can see the emotive expression she has. You can really see on the right where she's a little more impassive face. It's not like the Nizai stone face, which is a much colder sort of look. It's more of like a kind of emotional resonance, like a waiting to be impacted, the way that Jai does. You really see the lower lip sticking out there. Although she does have the knee alpha dancing eyes like the Nizai do.
And like the left picture, she's smiling kind of big there.
Mhm.
She kind of also radiates a lot of like good positive energy. And since she kind of does it all the time, it almost made me like an aware gesture, like how the knees out like pop out that G. But up there, she is awaiting. She's sort of just warm, but it's not really directing a tone.
Yeah.
Like the knees I would do it. Cool.
So this is Nijai Brittany Snow. What was she read as?
I'm not sure.
What? Oh.
Do you know?
I don't know. I don't even know where she's from, but she seems familiar to me. Like I've seen that face before.
I think she may be done down as a Shiny.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe.
Yeah.
She seems kind of like a Shire riff.
Yeah. I guess I can just make that comparison.
Yeah.
The important thing is we have the right mojo now, and then But anyways, I can see how she could res Shiny because I definitely see like she's got a lot of shy, and there's a certain longness to her face that can sort of shiny. That that looks physically similar, but I definitely do see the biofield distinction as well, which is the actual qualia of the knee dancing eyes popping out and being the dominant signal, and then the shy, unaware mouth and emoting going into the cheeks but not into the eyes.
Dude. Okay, what happened with him was, and he still hits me now with it. I think he's just an odd-looking fella, but his oddness struck me in general, and then as a part of it, he reminded me of Arnold Schwarzenegger. And so,
Yeah, he reminds me a little bit of him too.
but I think when I see him in interviews talking so forth, and even here I think might be his face does hold tone. There's tone throughout it, but he just has a odd-looking cheeks.
They kind of make it seem as though they're localized or something, right?
Yeah.
Given that they sort of have that quality where the fascia around the mouth area is like protruding outward, it looks kind of like, oh, that must be localization.
Yeah, his mouth there kind of sticks quite a bit out in front.
Yeah. And Pilot, I think, is pretty much obvious. He's got the more pronounced Pilot face to him, but it's not cool helmet. It's warm helmet, and I think again the lines and everything, the wrinkles there. I think that is a cue related to the Vi, and the more yangness that it brings to the overall. The expressions and stuff, the little micro expressions and everything, they tend to stick out a little bit more as compared to like the G Nye or the Z Nye, who would have the Nye that would give more of like the V kind of quality. Or you mentioned the halo with the G Vi, they tend to have that the Vi piercingness in the eyes and the halo of the knee around, and then the opposite would be where the Nye would have the more yinner piercing quality to it, but then with the more yang halo. So I'm not sure exactly, but I feel like, I'm definitely seeing more of the pinpointed Vi quality in the eyes and the overall.
That's one thing. These pictures kind of help me. So I want to revisit this case down the line again, but I think I'm seeing G Vi right now. Is because on the right, for example, when his eyes are more squinted, more dialed in, they seem more yang, less dreamy to me. And then on the left, where you can see that his stimulus register halo is more present, it seems dreamier, as compared to a Nye Mojo, which would be reverse of that. So anyway, he's an unusual looking fella. I think he's a GI.
His bottom lip also kind of like is protruding out a little bit more forward, and that makes you think that it's popping out, but it's actually not. It's just his face and the way it's structured and it's built. But yeah, I think the emoting does go all the way up, and the upper lip is actually the emphasizing point, not the bottom one.
Okay. And these are always kind of tricky. There's a couple of them that are like this, and that's like a really unusual face, which works great as an actor. But there's like, what exactly is that? 'Cause it's so unusual looking. Shy V, Larry Bourgeois. Had him down as Naiji. Pretty straightforward once I started seeing the Jai V in the music. Same thing though, he's got that more kind of like slinky, Nye heavy, sort of leading, not that Dad is kind of leading men, but more like the kind of a take charge lover kind of vibe. But you can see that the emoting is awaiting and it's holding its space at a comfortable level, and that there is more laser clear-eyedness than there is Nye. Not just that the Nye is pierced with a halo, it's actually behind it. The most prominent signal is the clear-eye.
Same thing here with Jaivi, Laurent Bourgeois, who is the twin brother of Larry Bourgeois.
I thought that looked pretty similar.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, they're twins. Oh, cool.
Yeah, identical. Known as Les Twins.
Vaiji Bobby Vinton.
I think I had him down as like a Nijai or something because of his twinkly eyes.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they're really
He's
like
got a ton of
great
needs.
looking.
He always looks so happy. He's
Oh
very
yeah, he does. So he's got a very happy, twinkly.
No, but
Yeah.
that's consistent G. Consistent G.
But yeah, I mean, you can see that he's values based too. His window expression does go up to the eyes, and he smiles. But one thing I guess about his eyes, besides the twinkly quality, is that they have this like, I mean, piercing obviously, but like just I don't know, like
Tightness?
but yeah, yeah,
Yes.
very
tightness
like they're steady on.
and steady on, like
Let him give them
right there, like
my
looks
eyes.
this.
But they have a lot of knee that like encapsulates them like
does.
around.
But so they look like this. There's like a hard pit in the center.
Yeah.
And you know what actually helped me with him? It was a small swab, but it was there. And when I cleaned it up, it really helped. There was a small swab of game show hosts that are Vaiji that I thought were knee shy because of how like upbeat they are and everything. And he reminds me of that kind of like really like affable, upbeat Vaiji. He looks on the left there. He looks like a game show host.
Yeah, it
really
does.
That's exactly what it makes me think of.
Picture on the right, I can see like the hunterish signal more. Like, I mean, you can see he's more looking to the left. You know, and it just looks like such a Jez Hunter look. I don't know. I picture on the left I see as well, but picture on the right I see especially.
Yeah, as he got older and got more and more knee development, it got even more challenging to see. Right.
Yeah.
Mike next. Who was the last one?
Ben.
He's up now.
Who went last?
Mitchell went.
Oh,
with-
Mitchell went last. Okay, cool. So this is Zenai, David Schweikert. What was he rated before?
I believe I had him down as a. I forget which one, but as a bi alpha. He has more confidence in him.
Yeah. Like lots of these members of Congress are kind of like, I mean, they're really like boring, and they're really like really kind of like they play a steadier game. They're a little bit less like rambunctious. Like Zenai in like MMA, for example, are a lot more like rambunctious than like a Zenai politician. I mean,
Yeah.
so Zenai are a little bit more like they're in politics are a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more. They hold themselves back in little ways, a little bit more.
Trained, more polished.
So that makes it easier to confuse them for being a Vi Alpha, who of course are also playing the same kind of game. But I can definitely see the Z go all the way into the eyes here, the full face, helmet of bracing here, along with the eye cunning in the eyes.
Nice.
All right, this is Vizi George Apostolakis.
If I had to guess, probably read him as a Zenai. He's got a substantial noggin.
Right. Okay. So I think that's probably one of the main things there. He also kind of looks kind of a bit like Dr. Phil in a way, and I think
Hey, Dr. Phil! Yes.
I agree with that riff.
He does.
yeah, that riff does kind of play out a little bit, but the eyes they stick out in a way, like you said, the hard pit in the center kind of thing, and they're deeper set and they have more of the hooded quality to them as compared to Dr. Phil, who has he has a big kind of noggin as well, but it's different in the way that it kind of looks in the qualia, and the eyes, they don't look the same exactly either. They don't have that not wary, but you know, like the hunterish kind of signal of like being downtrodden with like the heaviness that comes with the worldview being source. It doesn't quite have that same look to it. And the stash, yeah, I guess, and then also the wider face overall too, and yeah, I think pretty much it's pretty straightforward. But yeah, Vizi does make a lot more sense. He's got finer features. The chin kind of tucks in a little bit. It doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't.
Big head, but the features are finer.
Yeah, there's quite a few of these kind of Vaiji kind of types that have the more prominent kind of quality to them that make them seem much more gravitas and like they're pilots, but no, they're actually still hunters. But it's just those certain areas.
He also has a general kind of powerful energy about him, but more than that, because that's easy. More than that, there's like this sort of like worried. Me maybe being an interpret, almost see as like a haggard, tired quality.
Right. Yeah.
But also a gravitas that comes with that. Anyway, so Glenn, before you actually said that, I was like a millisecond away from saying he looks like a Greek Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
All right, Nizai Jason Alexander. He is down as a Nizi. With him, he's fairly obvious now. Seeing a lot, we have a lot of Nizai guys now. I believe that they're one of that we have over 1,000 of. And also seeing them doing like voice acting work and so forth, where they have more phi to their game. So with him, it was a combination of the squintiness. He has a squinty game. He does that a lot. Doesn't tend to have the open-eyedness that a lot of them do. And then also his performing style. He's got a little bit of the Lewis Black, where it's a bit angry and aggressive overall. Not quite as goofy, quippy as a lot of Nizai comedians are, but more of a harder edge. Like someone who's used to being around a lot of Nizi or something, he's got more like a cutting zing game to him. So I think those two things that kind of fit it. But taking those aside, he has the more classic gatherer face. And even though he's squinting a ton, there's this up energy. Even on the left, he's squinting, he's trying to lock his mouth down, yet still he looks mischievous. It still has the mischievous lift of a Des gatherer.
It's kind of funny, like, how could you not see it before? It seems so obvious now, right? Like,
yeah, it's a combination of having other samples that do that, so like, oh, okay, that's what I'm seeing there, and then also that it's from a show that had such, cultural weight, and they have like giving you certain, for me, for example, I watched a lot of their shows, gave you certain experiences, and so like trying to look through those, but for example, his kind of aggressive cutting game, I was kind of hit by that, even enjoyed it in the show, but I had to kind of like get that off my fifth gear to just look at the instrument causing that comedic game.
right, I think I see what you're saying.
Oh, it's right there. You're right. Once you clear the crap out of the way, the answer is right there.
No, but it makes sense that you said that, Coach. Older show, they're more prominent in your psyche as far as like your virtual village. You kind of use those TV shows and stuff as like references, and you choose not to actually ever question the references themselves, but sometimes you need to, right, in order to actually see the truth. So yeah.
For sure. But the truth always comes out. If you keep getting more data and keep revisiting the cases with your stronger lens, the answers keep percolating up.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Who's down? Nine.
He was down as Naiji also. Okay, so Jaini Daniel Goldman. And again, I won't go over it. We've gone over it before.
Mitchell?
I know. What was he doing this?
He was down as a Vaiji. He kind of has that more like smooth operator GQ look about him. But the Vaiji do that too. Strictly in politics. I'm more used to seeing Vaiji do that, but the Vaiji also do, at least in that arena.
Hey, it's sort of like he's posing for like a perfume or something, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a much more socially aware kind of game.
All right then. So Vizi Martin Heinrich. So one of the ways you can see, I guess, if he's Vizi is that there's no moding going with the midline. His cheeks actually are pretty sheer. I don't know if we usually call it that for Z, but I mean, I guess that is true. I mean, they just don't. They're just naturally neutral, and his mouth. I mean, I guess when it Z's above Shy, there's like kind of awareness to it more. We were talking about because they're like, I don't know.
Well, they're
like less self-conscious.
They are aware of agenda.
Yeah.
That's
but
the
like,
point. As a director, you will be aware of agenda, even if it's not a motive awareness. He's very much aware he's being watched.
yeah.
It's funny because his mouth is not aware, but he's holding it.
Yeah.
For
He's
example,
holding
he's aware he shouldn't leave it slack. that he shouldn't actually. So he kind of just holding it in place. That's the big difference I noticed with the YZ politicians is they are aware to not just let their Zhai do whatever, but they don't send out a specific signal. They generally kind of just hold a note, a safe note, a non-committal note. They kind of, it's like a good-natured strength. They kind of just hold that note in all their photos. Whereas the YG, they'll usually try to give you something like, I'm fierce, or I'm friendly, or there's a little more of a sell in the G. You know what's selling with his emoting power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not really, you're not really seeing anything with the upper lip in these pictures. So
even like the IG hold their face with a lot of Zai, they're still selling you. Even like let's say MMA fighters that they do a lot of stone face and look hard, but their G still saying, I'm hard. You know what I mean? Their mouth still gives off that signal, even though most of the face is being held by this eye.
Mm.
So Jinai, Kathy Ireland.
She was down as a knees eye.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see the full-faced signal that objectives have. And she does have a considerable amount of Zai, as a lot of G9 models do. So I can definitely see how she could be confused for any Zai. But I definitely do see the G emoting isn't just hanging below the midline. It's definitely going into the cheeks, and you can further see it go into the eyes. So there's a distinct contrast there. Also, the eyes, they don't really look like knee eyes to me. They look like V laser eyes. They look much more intense, with the worldview power being in the tandem position as opposed to the polar position. Not as pierced to say like a hunter, but still quite a bit, I'd say. So yeah, overall, Jinai.
Yeah, I think I read her way back in the day. And at that time, I wasn't doing much with models at all. I was mainly focused on TV, movies, music, that kind of stuff. And as you guys know, there's knees eye everywhere. You know what I mean? TV and movies, it's like a knees eye fest. So when I read her, I was sort of like, oh, it's another knees eye. But then I got into modeling. Wait a minute, this is a very heavy Jinai game. And I'm like, I need to definitely look at her case again.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we have Jamie Heineman, who is a Nijai, previously read as a Naiji, I believe, right?
That was so hard for me to get.
Right. I think we've known about him for quite a bit now, though. I mean,
yeah,
he's not as recent as some of the other ones that I think, but yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, Nijai, the Nijez quality, that's definitely is one of the things that
I need help with him. Was actually some of the like an Alaskan family. Was a feral Nijai dudes. He's a fairly misanthropic Nijai. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know the Nijai can be the shyest of all the objectives, but he definitely has like a misanthropic edge to it that I hadn't really seen before. At least not that. He still might be the most that we have that's like that.
Yeah, I think at one point he was even read as a Zai V. I think but that was like way before.
And it just so quick history here. That's because he reminded me of my best friend from way back in the day, who we don't speak anymore, unfortunately. But anyway, long story short, his interaction with
Adam
Savage, it reminded me a lot of our interactions. There's not completely, there's other things of other shows as well, but that one really kind of set. And I thought that he was a Zai V because that's what he thinks he is. And it took me a long time to realize that my former best friend was not a Zai V, because he always identified like Clint Eastwood's like this, and I'm like Clint Eastwood. Therefore, that was like the mental math. I never challenged it, not till being away from him for years. So anyway, that's how I finally got him off of being that. But when I flipped my best friend and realized that he actually was an IG like me, then that's when I thought, oh, Jamie Hyman must be an IG, because I had those two linked in my head. So that was a second error, was realizing like, wait a minute, this dude Jamie Hyman is not in the same mojo as Jack at all. So yeah, the first error was I actually had my best friend read wrong. I had to flip that. And then I realized that this guy is totally different, actually.
Yeah, I think one of the things that stick out about him is that his beard kind of does add a little bit of a distraction to being able to read his face adequately. But that does seem like that bottom lip, it kind of peeks through it. It does look like it's unaware for sure. And the eyes, they have much more of that sort of yin quality, not piercing, not intense. His overall look just has that much more Gumby quality to it as well. And yeah, I think like there's like a riff of Nijai that have like that walrus kind of look to them.
Yeah.
You know, like yeah, it's he. I could definitely see how he's a Nijai now a lot more. So it makes a lot more sense. The articulation, even when he speaks in the show and stuff, it doesn't have the same quality that it does with the Naiji. It has much more of that Z, and it definitely feels like it's more modulation for him, even though he is quite good at it. And yeah, interesting
Yeah.
character. I quite enjoy watching him with Adam and stuff. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
funny
so-
actually hearing them actually talk about it, that they apparently didn't like each other all those years.
Like,
Oh really?
like,
They didn't like themselves? Oh.
Didn't like each other, but
Oh.
they respect each other's professionalism. Yeah, all fans are like, what?
like on the picture on the left, I'm almost getting the impression that he's like a ship captain or something. And I do see Nijai like this. They have good like modulation development. He's sort
A
of
ship
like
captain,
Yeah.
captain, or even maybe a chef. I feel
Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm seeing like there's
Yeah.
that Herbert dude. I think that kind of riffs me a little bit of him.
yeah.
He's very, very serious, very crotchety.
Yeah.
Okay, Jai V, Andrew McCutcheon, have him down as Naiji because I saw that he was subjective and had values-based and Nai with V. I just really was not expecting to see a Jai V in there. But actually, after finding the Jai V in the music, I was able to go back to some other bubbles. And they're not prominent, but they do show up here and there. So you can see with him, he is subjective, but he's just holding it, not just, but he is holding his space, not pushing his emotive agenda forward. And he has a good amount of Nai, definitely, but the clear-eyed up energy signal is more prominent than the slinky. And both those, the mouth is just sort of enjoying the moment, being in the moment. It's not trying to push anything as far as an expression to the outside. It's just sort of feeling what it's feeling, and then the look of it is what it is.
Yeah, it does go up quite high as well. Yeah.
Yeah, also, it's true.
Okay, Zibaya Ayrton Senna, and he was read as a
Shiny.
Jaini.
He has pouty mouth.
Yes, it has more full lips than you see with some other, and more rounded, like it's sort of lines too, like the
And just being honest,
jawline. It's a little more rounded than you see.
we do have a small handful of shiny race car drivers, but it's mainly the dirt pracs. But the shiny get there a little bit, but so far they tend to be more from European countries, not as much with the NASCAR and things like that. So his pouty lips combined with the fact that he's European, I'm like, oh. You're one of those European shiny racers, aren't you?
He's Brazilian.
Brazilian, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
More sensuous. You're one of those sensuous shiny racers.
No. So this is localized.
Soccer players
shy.
got me through that.
This is bracing.
Lots of bracing.
Lots of bracing, and that is cunning. So his eyes are like piercing, and they don't have that receptivity that the dry alpha have.
One thing that kind of helped me a lot from seeing a lot of the soccer players is a lot of them get very, very passionate about what they're doing, obviously, and getting used to the energy they can have in the mouth there, even though it doesn't radiate through much of the face. It can have quite a lot of attitude, quite a lot of competitive attitude, and so I had to kind of like let the strength that hit me and sort of get my fifth gear back, and then realize although they definitely have a lot of competitive attitude, some a lot more than he does. It doesn't make the cheeks move like a values-based mojo, even though a lot of times the amount of kind of pugnacious fire that they radiate in their pictures is quite strong.
Mitchell.
He was read as a G9.
Zenai, Fareed, Sakari. Have we done this before?
The last name kind of sounds familiar. Yeah.
Very common name.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Okay.
he's read as a G9. He's got a very kind of a compassionate style when we cover stories.
Yeah. He kind of looks like it. Like he doesn't he doesn't look like he's really emphasizing a lot of the like colder aspects. I don't know of the Xenai. Maybe they could have, or the more like really dominant aspects of the Z. Like in both pictures, I can feel like almost like some of the Zhai approachability to his energy. Like on the right, he's doing a neutral face, but it doesn't. I don't really feel like he's pushing that hard, really with the Z. And then on the
Yeah, it just looks sort of like a neutral but like really serious expression, I guess. I don't know.
and then on the left, he's got more. He's doing the Jai open mouth thing. But yeah, the way you can tell that it's not she is them. He does have a discernment lead face, but it's not going. The mode of expression doesn't go throughout the face, but the eyes and the mouth are in sync in the expression.
Also, their Z vibe, it still did help in soccer. He's getting used to seeing a lot of the Latin, European, the South American soccer players who are Z vibe. A lot of them have more sensuous lips. Like he does.
He does have pretty sensuous lips.
That you might think I'm looking more at a dyes-based mojo.
Yeah.
So Jibai Cameron Wake, he's a pro football player.
Down as a G94.
Okay, yeah. I thought, yeah, that makes sense. All right, so the main thing we're going to be distinguishing is between Vi and Nai. Yeah, I mean, like, football players can be kind of tricky sometimes because they're so, like the energy they have in their eyes are so, like, I guess, they're so, visceral about, like, the way they do things. So in terms of, like, seeing, like, Nai and V, that can be, I can sort of be drawn to see that, but, I mean, I guess when I look in his eyes, I don't really see a strong sense that they're cunning. I mean, they look piercing, but I don't really get the sense of like cunning signal. And I think I'm seeing more of a stronger concrete signal than I am an interpretive signal in the eyes, such that it looks more like concern to me than it looks like cunning.
And for me, what really helped him is instead of just everything you said is definitely true. And as far as these specific physiological cues, but I also was just hit by a general like third year and fourth year of work in a fitness bubble. It kind of reminds me of quite a lot of like the bodybuilder type and more jacked.
Yeah, that's a good comparison, I think. Yeah.
He also kind of riffs to me a little bit of in a shades kind of way. Peel, or is it Key? I'm not sure.
I'm talking about yeah.
He's a Nizai, and yeah, I think it seems like he's the kind of character that they would probably do like one of their skits on, trying to like pretend, because I know that they've done a lot of those where they like pretend to be football players or something. So yeah. All right, so this is Nijai Susan Waj
Let's hold up that
Kiki.
one. I'm still looking at her actually. Take the next one.
Okay. So this is Zenai Clarence Thomas.
I thought he was a big. I thought he was a big-headed visee.
I figured as much.
Really uptight. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. I could definitely see. He seems like he's some kind of like a Supreme Court. Oh, yeah. It says right there. Yeah. But yeah. I mean, I think that that bubble tends to maybe hold a lot of Vi Alpha in it. I'm not sure though. I'm just assuming. But Xena, I think, would probably show up a lot in Law as well too. And the prominent head is definitely a characteristic of him being a pilot, not necessarily a visee with a power head quality to them. And the eyes, they don't have that same kind of like hard, pit quality to them as compared to like the visee, who definitely have the more piercing look into the eyes. His is more, looking at him, it's sort of like looking at a very serious elephant kind of quality, like, I mean, like I get that kind of impression as compared to looking at something like I don't know, like a any kind of like animal that would be considered like a visee, like a badger. I don't know, but I don't know, like the heaviness in the jaw as well, the cheeks, the localization in the mouth area. It's kind of tricky maybe to tell that apart from a visee, because they also have Zhai as one of their modulation powers, but for the Xena is going to be especially localized and not as much going up to the midline. And yeah, I mean, overall, it does make a lot of sense that he's a Z9, not a Vi Z. Vi and the Nai definitely stick out as far as comparisons, differences.
Baiji Marilyn Roach had her down as a Naiji. I think I could be wrong, I think she might be a fiction writer, and I was not expecting to see the Baiji crossover so much into fiction writing. They're usually more nonfiction and journalism, biographies, and things of that nature. But there is a crossover, and it's much more prevalent with the females.
Is she famous?
She is. She's famous authors, and Baiji females and Xenai females cross over from nonfiction journalism into fiction. A lot of quite famous fiction, a lot more so than the males do. The males, not always, but more often, they tend to stick more with journalism, history, biographies, things of that nature. Anyway, she actually, I think you can see pretty easily, she's a jazz hunter. Got that lean, dialed-in look, and her mouth definitely knows she came here for a purpose. But it has a tighter tensioning around the mouth than a Naiji would have, and the eyes have more of that hard pit quality, although she definitely can tell has a strong amount of knee.
Yeah, knee halo.
Mm-hmm.
She's a historian.
Interesting. Tiny mostly took the bride, and she was.
She has a nice Z because she's such a badass.
What you trying to say?
No, I'm not saying because they do interchange. You mentioned like in the law shows, the
Yeah.
Shiny and the Nice Z actually show up a lot in those same kind of things.
Yeah, I think it's with that economy of dreaminess and poignancy. I don't know.
Yeah, she seems like she's probably would be like a badass huntress kind of quality. Like she gives off that kind of air, right? I guess which is what Coach is trying to say there.
Yeah, definitely some of the role
Yeah.
she's done. Although like in Walking Dead, she kind of does both. Actually, help me. Walking Dead's actually I didn't realize she was a Shiny because she actually ends up being really badass. But she starts off not a badass, but being much more just openly empathetic,
Mm-hmm.
and then gets more hardened while holding on to her empathy. She's probably a cool character. She's my favorite.
Yeah, so it's kind of traveling the spectrum between, or the balance between Z and Zhai, and then or good modulation, right?
Yeah, and but in the case of the Shiny, you're right. Your conscious powers that will start with a Jai and then work that Z hardness while still keeping empathy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yes, you can see the poignancy go traveling up the face. So,
And not overmodulation. She also has a good amount of vibe as well. Poise.
yeah.
Who Shira does.
Zoe Palmer, I think I had her as a Naiji. She's a bit more serious a bunch. You know what she is?
Yeah.
Shiny.
Dark Matter, the android.
Right, Chinese Palmer.
It's a pensive, watchful look you see here. She does that quite a bit. So I think that's what.
Yeah. Okay, so she has a pensive, watchful look. So that can kind of look like Naishi, but she has the unifilled face. Not like emotive expression that like goes out to the eyes and then gives like a psychic banded look. She doesn't really have that at all. And even like I mean, you can look at her eyes; they have like a watchful warmth to them.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
That's I think true. You can see on the look she's doing on the right there. Yeah.
She riffs of quite a few Shiny, I feel like, too. The one from Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also, just a side note here, a lot of times with the more like mechanical android synthetic creatures, they tend to have cast logic face, but they've actually been recently casting them like in a counterpoint with logic face. So she's in Dark Matter as the android, and she's awesome. And then I really like, Zachary Quinto's take on Spock. So
Yeah.
it really actually works quite well because the neat trick, they can hold their face really still, like you think an Android or Vulcan would. But we all know that Jai Alpha can radiate so much, emotional poignancy into a scene still without actually moving their face much. So it's actually quite, they get the face that looks more Androidy, but still the audience is going to be tugged along by that mouth and voice. Very cool.
So this is Gina Rachel Scarston.
I think she's another one of those, I'm just guessing, she's probably one of those I mistook for a Nizai.
Okay.
Kind of covered that already.
So she's yeah, Gina Rachel Scarston.
Nizy Desi Lidic.
Yep. She's awesome. She's on the Daily Show as one of our main correspondents. She's got
Awesome.
a really quick, upbeat, quippy energy. I thought she was a Nizai. I mistook her for the.
Okay, so same basic hierarchy of powers, but just difference in terms of subjective perception, subjective versus objective and stuff like that. Objective, adaptive. So yeah, I mean, Nizai. Yeah, I think I can see how that could be the case. I can definitely. I'm noting the elongation though, also very strongly, and that does seem to stick out to me. That she's probably a subjective mojo, and the mouth also looks pretty unaware. Although in the picture on the right, and her chin, it kind of does remind me a little bit of like that one lady from Seinfeld, Louis Dreyfus or something. I don't know what her name is, but it kind of reminds me of that. So that kind of does seem like it would be more like a Nizai, but she doesn't have that same buoyancy energy to her, like the way that I think she would normally have.
Yeah, you're right. The difference between happy and buoyant, because she has a happy energy about her, but it's not buoyant.
Yeah, she actually does remind me quite a bit of some like Nizy comedians and stuff. I feel like I'm noticing some riffs. The eyes, they also they pop. They don't pop out. They stick out and have a piercing quality to them. So yeah, Nizy does make quite a bit of sense. Although I can, when you're trying to read, I guess, to telling apart certain powers and stuff, it could be a bit challenging to tell the difference. And so yeah, Nizai, they also tend to show up quite a bit in acting. But yeah, I can tell. Yeah.
Oh, just that. Also, when I'm kind of like mass reading, one thing I have to watch out for is getting a signal that tells me, "Oh, you've got this," and not flexing more. So for me, her upbeat energy, and I don't know if you can see this, Darlene, the one on the right, for example, something about her remind me a little bit of Naomi Watts. And so I kind of got
there's a radiance, like yeah.
And a little longer face.
Longer. Mm.
Same way, I kind of got like the Naomi Watts kind of riff, and I just should have actually flexed more. One of those things, you have to like tell yourself like, it feels good, but it's not a lock. You know what I mean? It's a tag, it's not a lock.
Yes.
Okay, Nizy Susan Pryor. She was down as a Jaini. She actually has really good Jai, as you can tell. And she's very, very good at kind of putting like emotional tone on things. But what helped me get her actually is she's got a game a little bit like Laurie Metcalf, the mom from Big Bang, where she's a Nizy. And I also thought she was a Jaini one time because she puts so much Jai into how she conducts all her jokes. She kind of keeps you with her emotional tone as she's making her humor. So I have to really kind of lock in that her cheeks are not moving much at all, even though she is doing quite a lot of Jai there. And the eyes are piercing with a good amount of V halo. That's like a bright V halo, but it's not actually the up energy of an adaptive using momentum. She's also in Silicon Valley, right on that.
Vijay every day, and this is a V and niche or a Vijay that was read as Nishai.
No, I think I had her down as a Jai V, so this one I went reverse.
Okay, so
Some
is
pictures
it because
she has
the point,
longer.
like
Yeah.
the sort of coming into an inverted triangle shape?
And I think I actually got the picture on the left to help me see her in a more full-face look. She has, I think, quite a few pictures where she's elongated looking like that.
Right, so looking downward, but yeah, so I can see that it could be perceived as the longer face in some of the pictures. That's the way that it comes across. And she does tend to accentuate her lips in a lot of the pictures too.
I'll pull this up back a little bit. Even there on the left, where she's got more of an obvious beige-eye look, she got the head tilted back. Doesn't look as eager to go forward as beige-eye do.
Here, when she looks forward, I mean, in both pictures, but particularly when she looks forward, you can see that. Actually, it rips me off of Julianne Howe a little bit here, picture, and yeah, you can really see a lot of energy coming off of the eyes, and having two different signals between the eyes and the footing that's going on.
I'll take her out.
No.
She's a sister. The other one took out.
Oh,
Gotta look at the sisters. All right, who's up? This person is down as a Jinai.
Jivai, Mu Theory, Sokuju.
Nicely done, sir.
Very nicely navigated.
And we already kind of covered this kind of sample, so you can add anything you want, or we can just keep scrolling.
Let me just keep going then.
so this is Jai v. Lily Allen.
I think header is Bijai.
Okay, so it's same deal.
It's big, clear eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, this is Zenai Jean M. Ao. I think she was previously read as maybe a Nijai.
Correct.
Right, so I think Nijai, Zenai, that hasn't been touched on yet, I think. But it is one that tends to happen quite a bit, I think. And it's because they're both, they're both objective, they're both interpretive, and they both have Z and Jai as their powers. And with her, and I think she's an author, and authors tend to be, the female authors tend to be Nijai a lot. But there are some Nijai, as Zenai, as I think Coach said before. And
in authors and activism, the Zenai lady, Nijai ladies, they cross over quite a bit, cross-pollinate.
Yeah, and so for the most part, I think it's pretty straightforward how you can mix up the two. It's not something that one would one would not be able to have to navigate around that, because it tends to be pretty challenging. I definitely noticed for myself. But I think the emoting doesn't go up very high. It's very localized. You can tell in both pictures, actually. It's she has a smaller mouth too, but it is definitely localized in that one area. Nijai, they have a different kind of qualia to them. They have a different look to them, where the emoting is much more readily notable that it's going past the midline and into the brim line. And she kind of reminds me a little bit of like a more heavy-set Hillary Clinton in a way. I feel like I'm getting that kind of a little bit of a riff. But yeah, she...
Kind of up energy.
Yeah, her energy is not as up as it would be like normally for a Nijai. It still has that directive heaviness quality to the seriousness. The Nai kind of brings it, and the eyes, they don't have that buoyancy to them. But she does have, I think, a fair amount of V, a little bit of Jai there too. But it's definitely localized.
Authors tend to have a good amount of V playfulness and Jai emoting. In fact, they tend to have a lot of Jai emoting. Very strong. Sure. You know the story of The Outsiders, that famous book written by S.E. Hinton? It's a classic. I believe that was written. She's a Zenai.
She's a Zenai?
And that's like when the all-time youthful angst and
yeah. We had to read that book in elementary.
It's famed for its emotional depthness and the complexity of the relationships. That's really cool.
Who's in it? Patrick Swayze. I think Tom Cruise is in it. And I think that one.
Estevez, Charlie Sheen, a crazy cast. Diane Lane.
The shiny dude from Karate Kid.
Ralph Macchio's right. He's there too.
Yeah, Golden Boy or Goldie or whatever his name is. Pony Boy.
That would see Thomas Howell. Who's up?
Stay gold, Pony Boy.
Stay gold, Pony Boy.
Yeah.
Who's up here?
This is Mitchell?
I'm not sure.
No, this is you, Coach.
Okay, so this is Jai Quinn back. He was down as a Nijai. Pretty easy to see Jez Gather, classic upbeat look and everything. he has, as you can see in both pictures, a good amount of Nye dreaminess. But it is, I believe, behind the overall look of the clear eyes. And for me, I actually find that the overall tensioning of the face, it gives it away even more than the eyes because he squints so much. But those cheeks, even here, the tensioning of the lips. I don't know what the word is for it. But the same with the Vaiji and Naiji have a difference there. The same thing happens between the two as gathers. It's a little tighter, and it's not the right word I want to use, but there's a little bit more of like a duck lip quality. That's the wrong word. I need a better word. So, but there's a tensioning difference that's a little more fleshy or something. A little more fleshy, and it's not as, I need a better word for this too, but there's a nervousness or something to the Nijai, even though I have a happy look. It's the Jai in the mouth, as with the Jai Ni, is a little more warbly as compared to the AdSense. Their Jai is a little more there, sort of steady present. So his Jai to me is a little more steady present, and the overall quality of his facial skin is more yang.
And this is his wife, right?
Right.
Vaiji Lisa Hartman Black. What was she read as before?
Vaiji.
Okay, so she was okay. So I think we've covered the Naiji Vaiji Jazz Hunters. Maybe not in ladies.
No, not ladies.
Okay, so
No, I think we did do that actually with that one other author.
Okay.
yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's true.
But I
So
think she was a Vaiji, or was she a Vaiji?
Vaiji. Yeah.
Vaiji.
Vaiji.
Yeah.
yep. So more dreamy, cunning. The halos that. Way of looking at it, but yep. It's the last.
It's last turn. Mitchell, this is you. We had him as a Genii.
All right, Zenai, Eric Bischoff. So I think we've done this one before, the Zenai Genai. I mean, I don't know about pro wrestling promoters, but
Yep, we covered that.
So this is a Vaiji Shirley Chisholm. She's a political figure, first black woman elected to Congress.
Had him down as an IG.
Okay.
That honor goes to the IG. Rock on. And last one is to you, Glenn.
All right, so Jinai Gail Devers. I think she was previously as a Naiji, right?
Yeah, so actually that's new. So why don't you go take that a little bit?
Is that how you pronounce her last name, Coach?
I think Devers. Gail
Devers. Okay, all right. I'm not so good with names sometimes.
Of course.
So yeah, Gail Devers, a Jinai, not a Naiji. So yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. She has much more of that more leaner, elongated quality look to her face that kind of tends to go with subjective mojos. But her eyes are more, they're unhooded, and the smile, the emoting, it's going up very high. It's going all the way up to the brow line, not stopping at or halting at the brim line area. Even on the picture on the right, even though she isn't necessarily smiling, you can definitely note that there's a lot of tone throughout her entire face. Yeah, it's tricky, but it is definitely noticeable that you can see that she has much more of that lioness quality as compared.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Even though it's elongated, it's still lionic.
Yeah, lionic, and yeah. So Jinai, not a Naiji, and awesome.
Nice. All right. So we'll pause there. Keep on getting into it. And as you do so, Ben is working towards us switching over to using the sample server program. Very exciting.
Exciting.
Cracking at it. Knocking
All right.
those errors out.
Nice. Okay, so I will see you guys on Tuesday at work.
All right.
Tuesday.
I'll see
Yeah.
you.
See you then. Okay, have a great night. See you Tuesday.
Happy Halloween, guys.
Okay, well,
Oh, and Mitchell, if you want to catch up, never mind. I'll talk next time. All right, see you guys on
See you
Tuesday.
guys.